Now, nested if else statement we have seen. That means when more than one condition we want to test condition 1 first. Then if it is true, then we'll go to test condition true. Again, if this is true, statement 1 will be executed and control directly jumps to statement X. If test condition 2 is false, then statement 2 is executed and directly control goes to statement X. If in the first case condition 1 is false, okay, then it goes to statement 3, it executes and directly control jumps to statement X. Okay, so like this we can nest one if statement in another if statement. Okay, so that's is called nesting of if else statements. Like this we want to test n conditions. Okay, that means a series of conditions we would like to test. In such case we use this else if ladder. Okay, now see here, when a series of multiple decisions are involved. Okay, so you want to test n conditions and n decisions are involved, and you have to take from these n decisions you have to take one decision. Okay, whichever is true, only that decision has to be taken. In such case, the else if ladder form of a if statement can be used. Okay, so it is called a multi-path decision statement. Multiple paths are there, and finally you have to traverse only through a single path. What do you mean by multi-path decision statement? That means a multi-path decision statement is a chain of if statements. It is nothing but a chain of a if statement. Chain of if means one if after another if, another if, another if. Like this, there are a chain of if statements in which the statement associated with each else is an if statement. That means after every else, there is an if statement. After every else, there is an if statement. That's why it is called else if ladder. Else after immediately comes if, else if, else if, else if. In this form, we write conditions. Okay, so that's why it is called else if ladder. General form of else if ladder, if we look into, now see, first condition 1 is tested. If this is true, then statement 1 is executed. Okay, then directly control jumps to statement X. Remaining conditions are not evaluated. Directly control jumps to statement X here. So from here, let us take a different color here. Right. So from here directly it jumps to this statement X, like this. Okay, so it goes here. Now this is the case when condition 1 is true. If condition 1 is true, then statement 1 is executed, and from here directly control jumps to statement X. That means skipping remaining statement. For example, if condition 1 is false, then immediately it goes to else statement. And after else, the associated statement is again another if statement. So else, if again you are testing one more condition, if condition 2, you test condition 2. If this is true, again statement 2 is executed here. Okay, so then after executing this, directly control jumps to statement X here. It directly goes here. If condition 2 is false, so again there is an associated else statement with this. Else, again if statement I associated with this else. Else if condition 3. test this condition. If this is true, statement 3 is executed and directly control jumps to statement X here. So like this, you can write a n condition statements here. Okay, so finally, if last condition, nth condition, else if condition n you are testing. Okay, so if this is true, then statement n will be executed. Statement n will be executed. Then after executing this, the control directly jumps to this statement x here. It comes to statement x. If n condition is also false, then the final else will be executed, and this is the default statement. This is the default statement. After executing this, automatically control comes to this statement x here. It comes to statement x here. Okay, so this is the general form of else if ladder. Now if you see else if kind of statements are there. So first condition 1 will be tested here. Okay, so first condition 1 will be tested, and if it is true, statement 1 executed and directly control goes to statement x. If this is false, then only it comes to else part. Now see here, if condition 1 is true, then remaining part of this ladder will be directly skipped and control jumps to statement x. If condition 1 is false, then else. And with this else, an associated statement is again if statement. Second condition you are testing here. Condition 2 you are testing. If this is true, statement 2 is executed and directly control jumps to statement x. If this is false, statement condition 3 is testing and true, statement 3 is executed. Like this, n conditions you are checking a series of conditions, and finally you are executing or evaluating only one statement associated with that corresponding if statement. Okay, so all the n conditions are false. For example, condition 1 false goes to condition 2 false, else if condition 3 false, else if condition n false. That means all n conditions are false. Then it finally comes to this last else statement, and that's why I have given this is the default statement. That means when all n conditions are false, the default statement is executed. This is the default statement that is executed when all n conditions are false. And after this, obviously, statement x is the next statement. Then it goes to this statement x. Okay. So this is else if a ladder. Another form of nested if statement. This also a form of nested if statement, but here instead of writing a one more if else statement in each else, we'll write only we associate with each else and if statement like this, else if immediately it comes. Okay, but there should be a space between else and if statements, please remember. Right. Okay, so we'll take an example here. We'll take an example here where we implement these else if form of if statement. Okay, so that means say for example a student grade you want to award. For a student you want to award his grade based on his marks. Based on his marks, we would like to award a grade of a student. Okay, right? So right now this is how it looks like the question in real world. If you want to apply if else, this is the situation where we can apply if else if ladder. Okay, so we want to award grade for a student, and a student will have only one grade, either distinction, first class, second class, third class, or a fail grade. Okay, and we award only one grade to only one grade to a student. Okay, so that means there are multiple conditions are involved, and you have to evaluate only one condition. You have to execute only one conditions. Okay, so such situations can be implemented by using else if ladder. Okay, so percentage of marks, if his percentage of marks are 80 to 100, then we award a distinction to that student. If his marks are between 60 to 79, then we award a first class. And if his marks are between 50 to 59, we award a second class. And his marks are average marks between 40 to 49, then we award a third class. And his marks are between 0 to 39, then we award the fail grade to the student. Okay, so only one grade we will award to the student. Multiple decisions are involved just here. That's why it is called multi-path decision statement. Multiple decisions are involved. Okay, so it is called a multi-path decision statement. And this is the situation where we can apply else if ladder. Is it clear? Yes or no? All right. So now we'll write program for this. We write a program for a find the grade of a student, which can be demonstrated by using a else if ladder. Okay, so that's why I have written here program to demonstrate else if ladder. Okay, and you also write the purpose of this program to find grade of a student. Okay, so this is the given question here. Now we want to write a program to find grade of a student. Okay, right. So how I can write here? Just see here. Include the header file. Okay, so then write the main function here. Okay, so then begin the main. Now I am declaring, because average marks 80 to 100 integer I am considering here. So int grade, I am taking a variable called as a grade here. I am declaring a variable called as a grade. Okay, so now ask the user to enter percentage of marks or average marks of a student. You can percentage of marks or average marks you can consider here. Okay, so you can ask the user to enter percentage of marks of a student. He enters some number, so then read that number and store into the variable called as a grade. Okay, so now I am testing here. Now how I can test the condition? See here, above from 80 and up to 100, 80 to 100 his marks should be, and when his marks are between 80 to 100, then he will be awarded a distinction grade. Okay, so that's why I am checking the condition here. If grade greater than or equal to 80, from 80 onwards and greater, all above marks, 80 and above marks, the condition will become true here. If grade greater than or equal to 80, then immediately you print. That means when you write this simple condition here, it covers all the marks between 80 to 100. No need of writing this again less than 100. Okay, right? So if grade greater than or equal to 80, then I am printing his grade as a distinction. Otherwise, else I am testing one more condition here. If grade greater than or equal to 60, if grade greater than or equal to 60, greater than or equal to 60 covers 60 to 79, up to 79 it covers. Okay, so this condition covers the marks range between 60 to 79. Any number you enter and the condition will become true here, greater than 60, and by default it is implicit that less than 79, up to less than 79 it is included, because 80 if you enter, here itself the condition becomes true and this will be printed. After printing this, what happens? Directly control comes to return 0. Return 0 and your program ends there. Remaining a ladder will be skipped here. Okay, so if not distinction, then only we'll check whether his grade is first class or not. So how to write the condition here? If grade greater than or equal to 60, then I am printing his grade as a first class. Then after printing this, directly control comes to return 0 and your program ends. So you can see first class displayed on the screen. If not first class, then else. Okay, now see here how I am writing in the form of a ladder. It looks like a ladder. You should write the statements in the same form. Okay, so this is the else associated with this if statement, and this is the else associated with this if statement. So that's why you have to write exactly below this if this else statement you should write, and below this if this is the else statement. Okay, so when you write program, it should look like a ladder. Right. So for not first class, then we are checking whether he gets the second class or not. So else, if grade greater than or equal to 50, what is the condition for second class? 50 to 59. Okay. So 50 to 59, if he gets, then grade will be second class. Okay. Otherwise, else. Else, if grade greater than or equal to 40, greater than or equal to 40, then his grade will be third class. Otherwise, else obviously his grade is less than 40. Okay, so less than 40, no need to check whether his grade is greater than or less than 39. Okay, so that means he hasn't got even 40 marks. That indicates that his grade is failed. Okay, so for this, the last else statement, no need of writing any condition here. This is the default statement. That means if all n conditions are false, directly then it comes to this else. That means student has not got any grade there, and finally his grade will be failed. Then finally say return 0, close. That's it. This is the program. Okay, so better right. Hope it is clearly visible now. Shall we execute this program? Any doubt in this? Right, so we'll execute this program. I'm just copying this. Online C compiler will open. So then copy paste your code here. Okay, so this is the code. Now see here how it looks like your code. Else if ladder, it is in the form of a ladder. It looks like a ladder. If else if else if else if else if like this, you should write. Okay, so this is the way or the style in which you should write the program. Okay, so I'm running the code here. Now your code is being compiled. Okay, so enter percentage marks of a student. Okay, so we'll enter some percentage, and hopefully what percentage you are expecting, what percentage of marks you are expecting in first semester. Okay, so let us enter, say for example 85. I enter. Now see distinction. Okay, now see the grade is distinction. So directly the first printf executed and directly it returned to return 0 and your program ends. Then rest of the ladder will be skipped. Okay, right. So again run the code. Now enter percentage marks of a student. Okay, so say for example 68 I enter. Now you see first class. His grade is first class. See, first class. Okay, so the second condition is executed here. Then it printed first class and reaches end of the program. Okay, so enter percentage marks of a student. Okay, so say for example 55 I enter. Then second class, his grade will be second class. Okay, so like this you should test every condition here. Now enter percentage marks of a student. Okay, right? So 39 percentage enter and just see here his grade will be fail. His grade will be fail. Okay, so 0 to 39, then his grade will be fail. 40 if you get, then he gets a third class. So 0 to 39 means fail. So that's why it printed fail grade. Okay, all right. Done. Okay, so this is a simple example for else if ladder. Else if ladder. You take an homework sum for this else if ladder. Same kind of a program that is implemented in real time. Okay, can you tell me one example for that? You might have observed electricity bill. Electricity bill in your house. Okay, so the person who comes for recording the meter reading. Okay, so he enters current meter reading and immediately you will get your bill. Okay, so that is best example because there are different ranges. That means if your bill is between 0 to 100 units, one uh, type of calculation will be performed. Okay, so even attendance also, right? Attendance. But for attendance, these many conditions will not be there, no? Salary in a company. Okay, right. So different grades of employees. Okay, so if your salary is between so and so, then you will be called as grade 1 employee. If salary is between so and so, you will be called second grade employee, third grade employee. Okay, manager, clerk, like this. For different salaries, there will be different grades. Okay, so example program now you take. What I do is I'll type here so that you can. An electric power company charges. This is how the question will be given here. Okay, so electric power company charges its customers as follows. Charges its customers as follows. Okay, so this is how uh, Just copy pasting so that I can make changes in this. Now see here. So this is consumption of units, number of units consumed. Based on that, the price or bill will be given to you. Okay, so consumption of units. How many units we consumed, and there should be a reading for this. Okay, so current reading will be noted based on the previous reading minus current reading, then you will get number of units consumed. Yes or no? That is the general calculation. Hopefully everyone is aware of this. Okay, so then rate of charge. Rate of a charge. Right? So if it is between 0 to 200 units. Okay, so first I'll write all these conditions here. If it is between 201 to 400, 201 201 to 400 units. Okay, so this is one charge, and similarly if it is 401 to 600, these are the categories. 600 one charge, and this is 601 and above. Okay, so 601 and above, then you will be charged one kind of a rate. Okay, now so how they are charging their customers, just we'll see here. Rate of charge. What is the rate of charge? This is rupees 0.50 is 0.50 per unit. Okay, so per unit they will charge like this. Okay, and if it is between 201 to 400, okay, so this is rupees 100 plus rupees 100 plus rupees 0.65 per unit, 0.65 per unit, excess of 200. Okay, so 0.65, that means 65 paisa per unit, excess of 200. This is the way they charge if the number of units consumed are between 201 to 400. Okay, so similarly if the number of units consumed are between 401 to 600. Okay, so this is rupees 230 plus 230 plus rupees 0.80. Okay, so that means 80 pice per unit, excess of 400. Okay, so if number of units consumed excess of 400, this is how they charge. Okay, and if it is greater than 600, okay, so then it is rupees 390 plus rupees, say for example 95 pice per unit, excess of 600. Okay, so this is the category of charging bill for consumption of electricity. Okay, so this is how they categorize for charging electricity bill. Okay, so these are the categories given. Now for this you need to write. For this you need to write here. What we need to directly, you need to enter number of units consumed. Number of units consumed. If you enter, then directly based on his units consumed, you should display his bill amount to be paid is equal to how much you should pay. Okay. So here write a program to display the amount to be paid. Okay, so what is the amount to be paid that you should display? Okay, so take a screenshot and try to write C program for this and send a screenshot to me. Okay, so I will check out and before you execute your program manually on paper you try to calculate. Manually on paper you try to calculate if my bill is 430 units or 240 units, what is the amount of bill? Based on this manually you calculate on paper and afterwards you test your answer with your program answer. If both are correct, then your program is correct. Okay, for each category you should calculate on paper and keep it ready, and when you complete your program, test your answer with your program. If both are correct, then only you can say that your program is correct. Okay, so otherwise there is some, what kind of error we call? Is it syntax error or if it is not correct, what kind of error we can say? Yeah, right. So it is logic error. That means you are able to execute your program, but output is not correct. Okay, so that is called a logic error. Your program is not printing the correct output. Okay, so there is some logic error and you need to correct that logic error. Okay, that means some calculation, you are doing wrong calculation in your program. Okay, right. So next, what we do is we'll move on to the next type of situation. Now see here in else if ladder, like this, if there are so many conditions, like this, there are so many conditions. Okay, here only 4-5 conditions means we can write. For example, there are 100 such conditions. Okay, then writing this program like this, so it goes on to the end of this corner. It comes to this corner. Okay, so managing of these many else if statements will become difficult. Okay, so for that purpose, what we do is we'll go to another kind of statement that is called as a switch statement. So while describing different types of conditional statements, see we have described see here. So first conditional statement is if statement, we discussed about this. Then the second type of conditional statement is switch statement. Okay, so today we'll talk about that switch statement. So switch is also a multi-path decision statement. This is also called multi-path decision statement. That means switch statement is used when one of the many alternatives are to be tested. There are so many alternatives and all these alternatives you need to test and finally come up with a single decision. Okay, so you want to finally evaluate only one decision. In such case, we can use this switch statement. Okay, so it is a condensed form of else if ladder, you can say. Okay, so switch is also a multi-path decision statement. Switch is also called as a multi-path decision statement. Okay, right? Now if you see the general form of switch statement, okay, so it begins with a It begins with a switch. Multi-path, no? Called as a multi-path decision statement. Now, the general form of switch statement, it begins with the keyword switch. Please remember, switch should be written in lower case. Switch, and within the parenthesis, we write expression. Okay, that means we write some condition. Okay, and for each answer to be matched here, we write cases. Switch case we call it as. Okay, so this case is also a keyword here. Okay, case space, and we'll give some labels here. Label 1, label 2, label 3, like this, label n. Up to label n, we write here. Okay, so case label 1. Here label 1, label 2 are nothing but they are integer numbers. Okay, so it tests whether the value of this expression is equal to this label 1. If it is equal to label 1, then this block 1 is executed. That means these are the statements that are to be executed. Okay, so this block 1 is executed, and finally when you say break, now see here, this is the beginning of switch statement and this is the end of this switch statement. Okay, so when this block 1 is executed, after executing this, when you write this break here, directly control comes out from this switcher and goes to this statement X here. It jumps to statement X here. Clear? Okay, right. So if the value of expression is equal to this case label 2, it is equal to label 2, then this block 2 is executed. This is the associated block with label 2. Block 2 is executed. Then after executing this, when you say break, then it comes to this statement X here. If this is also not matching, then it tests whether case label 3 is matching. If matching, then block 3 is executed, and when you say break, directly control comes out from switch and goes to statement X. Okay, so like this, it checks whether the value of this expression is case label 1, no, case label 2, no, case label 3, no, case label 4. Like this, it tries to find a matching label for this. And if it identifies a matching label, then the associated block of statements with that label will be executed, and when you write break, immediately it comes out from the switch here. Okay, so case label n matching, yes, then this is the block of a statement associated with this, it is executed, and when you say break, comes out. Now see here what happens if no case label is there. This expression value, is it label 1? No. Label 2? No. Label 3? No. Label n? No. Then this is the last one that is executed. Like your last else statement is there, no, in else if ladder. So here we write the keyword called as default. Default is a keyword. And please remember the syntax is you should write case, then space, label 1. After you have to write the colon here. Please remember this is colon here. Okay, so after writing this colon, then you have to write all the associated statements here. So after each case label, you should write the colon here. Similarly, the final default should follow with the colon here. Then this is the default statement. That means if all n cases are not matching, n labels are not matching, and this is the default statement that is executed. So after executing this, automatically control comes to this statement X here. Okay, so this is the general form of a switch statement. This is the general form of a switch statement. Okay, so begins with the switch, then you write some expression means some condition, and if this value of this expression is label 1 or label 2 or label 3, so it tries to find a matching label for this, where label is an integer number here, or you can use a single character also there. We'll see different examples. Okay, clear? Any doubt in this? Right. Now, a simple program where we can use this switch case is finding the day of a week. To find the day of a week. Okay, that means we enter a number between 1 to 7 and we want to print what is the corresponding day in words. The corresponding day we want to print in words. Okay, so a simple program, just see here, demonstrating a switch statement. Okay, so this is program to find the day of a week. So I'm just writing the program here, just see here, already written the program here. So include the header file and write your main function here, then begin the main. So declare a variable called as a day, then ask the user to enter a number between 1 to 7. Okay, so he enters some number, then you catch that number using scanf function in a variable called as a day. Okay, now because there are so many options here, only one option has to be chosen. So we use switch statement. When there are so many options, alternatives, and only one alternative has to be chosen, then the better one to implement is the switch statement. Okay, so first case space, then 1. See here, 1 to 7, now the labels contains the numbers 1 to 7 here. Okay, so case 1, if 1 is matching, that means I'll print this is the statement to be executed. So here what I am doing, I am printing it as a Monday. I'm printing it as a Monday, first day of the week, no? So Monday. Then I say break. When I say break, directly, now this is the end of this switch statement. So directly control comes to return 0 and your program ends here. Okay. So like this, it checks for a matching label here. For example, he entered a number 4. Now how it executes, just see here. He entered a number 4, that 4 will be stored in a day. Now it tries to find case 1 matching here, no. Then it goes to case 2 matching, no. Case 3 matching here, no. Case 4 matching here, yes. Day value equal to case 4, yes. Then directly this associated statement will be executed and it prints Thursday, and when you say break, directly comes out from the switch statement. Okay, so like this, if you enter a number between 1 to 7, then one of the day will be printed in words. For example, by crazy, there may be some students. Okay, so no parking means they will park there only. Okay, so this is human tendency. Similarly, we are asking the user to enter a number between 1 to 7, but still he enters a number greater than 7, some 8 or 10 he enters. Just he want to test what the program will do. Okay, so in such case, what happens? For example, he entered some number 10 he entered. Now see what happens in your program. Okay, so switch to 10, switch to day. Day means what is the value in day? 10, for example. Okay, so switch to 10 means case 1 matching here, no. 2 matching here, no. Case 3 matching here, no. Case 4 matching here, no. Case 5 matching, no. Case 6 matching here, no. Case 7 matching here, no. None of these cases are matching. When none of these cases are matching, then finally it goes to this default statement. Finally, it goes to this default statement here. This default will be executed here. That means then it prints this printf statement, and you can see invalid input on the screen. You can see invalid input displayed. Okay, so even though we are telling the user to enter 1 to 7, but by crazy he entered a number greater than 7 or less than 1. Then in such case, it prints invalid input. That means you are not entered correct input value. That is how it shows. Okay, so we'll try to execute this program. Just copy pasting this. Let us see the execution of this program. Okay, so here the problem is again changing the double quotes. Somewhere this is not closed. Now see here. So if you miss this comment line, then everything will be included in comment. Just see here, program. Okay, so from this you can identify everything is in comment. Somewhere you need to close your comment here. Okay, so that's why this is where I missed forward slash here. Now everything will be shown in the proper format. Okay, right. So double quotes, I think no need to change double quotes also, right? Because it is in text format, no? Right. Now see here, this is how neatly it looks when you write the program. See how neatly it is formatted. Even if you follow this type of a program convention in examination on paper, then it looks nice. Looks very nice. Okay, so see, this is how it should write. It should be written here. Switch day. Open the switch statement. Case 1 colon. Okay, in the next line. So after colon, you should print your printf statement. Say printf Monday. Then say break. Case 2. All the cases are in line here. Okay, then all printf and break statements are in line. This is how it looks very nice. Okay, right? This you should follow. You should learn writing such kind of programs. Now let us execute this program. What happens, we'll see here. Now it is compiling your program. Now enter a number between 1 to 7. Okay, so for example, I entered 3 here. So what it prints? Wednesday. What it prints? Wednesday. Okay, so day value will be 3 here. Switch to 3. That means case 3 is matching here. Then it prints Wednesday. And when you say break, then directly it comes out from the switch statement here. Then goes to return 0. Your program ends. That's why you can see Wednesday. Okay, right? So when you enter a number between 1 to 7, it is asking. Okay, so for example, 7 I entered. Now see Sunday it is printing. Okay, so this last case 7 is matching here. That's why it is printing a Sunday here. So here I have started day with a Monday. Some people start a day with Sunday also. Case 1 means they start with Sunday. You can use as per your convention. Now we'll see invalid case. Enter a number between 1 to 7. Okay, so for example, I entered some 11 here. Now what it has displayed? Invalid input. You can see invalid input displayed here. And remember here, if you say break, then immediately this break statement here, break is a keyword here. It is a keyword here. Okay, so when you say break followed by colon, okay, so you are informing the compiler to stop here and come out from this switch statement. The control comes out from this switch. This is the end of switch statement and goes to the next statement. That means skipping remaining case values. Skipping remaining case values. Okay, right? So here you can ask, sir, if we don't write break, what happens? Now we'll see here. Quickly, I'll show with execution so that you can understand here. Okay, so if you don't write a break here, what happens? We'll see here. I am removing break statements for some. Okay, see, for case 1, case 2, case 3, I have not written break. 4, 5, 6, 7, I have written break. What happens? We'll try to see here. Okay, so now I'm running the code here. Now enter a number between 1 to 7. For example, I entered 2 here. Okay, so first I'll show a case of some 4 or 5 here. 5 I enter. Now see what it printed. Friday it printed. That means it matches with case 5 and printf Friday means Friday it prints. When you say break, then directly comes out from the switch statement. Okay, so that's why return 0, close. Your program ends here. Now I'll show the case where we have not written break statement. So enter a number between 1 to 7. For example, I entered a 1 here. Okay, now see what happens. What is the output? I'll just make it clear here. Okay, now see here, enter a number between 1 to 7. Case 1 is matching here. Now see, case 1 is matching here. Then it prints Monday. Printf Monday means Monday will be printed on the screen. Since there is no break statement, automatically case 2 is also executed. Case 2 is also executed. That means you are not informing the compiler to break here. Okay, so since there is no break, it goes to case 2 and it also executes this case 2, printf Tuesday. That's why Tuesday is also printed there. So here also no break, then case 3 is also executed. Wednesday it printed. So here also no break statement, then case 4 is executed, printf Thursday, and now you set break here. Okay, so that's why then it comes out from the switch and nothing else is printed there. Okay, so having removed these break statements also, then everything will be printed. It executes until it finds break or it reaches end of this switch statement. Until it finds a break statement or reaches end of this switch statement, all statements will be executed from the place where it finds a case matching case, you can say. From there onwards, not a by default 1 నుంచి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవ్వడం కాదు. ఓకే, ఎక్కడైతే మ్యాచింగ్ కేసు ఉంటుందో అక్కడ నుంచి స్టార్ట్ చేసి రిమైనింగ్ అన్ని కేసెస్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తుంది. ఓకే, ఐ షో వన్ మోర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. జస్ట్ సీ హియర్, ఎంటర్ ఏ నెంబర్ బిట్వీన్ 1 to 7. Okay, so for example, I entered 3 here. Now just see here. Now case 3 is matching. So from here onwards it starts execution. Printf Wednesday. Wednesday it prints, no break. Then goes to next case. Case 4, Thursday it prints, then say break. That's why only these two will be printed here, Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, so this is the problem. If you don't write break in a switch case, then even though the next case is not a matching case, it goes to the next case and executes the corresponding statements. Okay, so better you write a break for every matching or every case. Is it okay? Even this default is also executed if you don't write any break statement there. See, just what I do is I remove this break here for 7. Okay, so then I run the code here. Now see, enter a number between 1 to 7. 7 I entered here. Now see, Sunday it printed, then invalid input also it printed. Why? Because case 7 is matching here, then it prints Sunday. Then after there is no break statement, so automatically it goes to this default. Goes to the next statement also executed. This is the next printf invalid input that is executed. Okay, so that's why. So you should compulsory, you should write break statement if you require that. This is the only statement, associated statement, that has to be executed when such or corresponding case is matching. Okay, so there may be some situations where you want to execute any one of these 4 cases. Any one is matching, okay, it is okay when you say, then in such case you can remove these break statements. Okay, so we'll write a program for that also. Like yesterday we have seen oval, consonant or digit program we have seen, no? Okay, so that can be expressed best expressed by using this switch case also. Right, any doubts? So we will stop here today. That program we'll discuss in tomorrow's class. Right, okay, so how many are there?